This question is about two positive integers, a and b, and the question is whether a to the power b is larger than b to the power a. And you get two pieces of information. You get a is b squared, and you get that b is larger than 2. Now, let's first look at the first piece of information. What we should do here is just fill in the information in what's being asked. So instead of a, we can write b squared. So then this becomes b squared to the power b. And on the right hand side we get b to the power b squared. So the question is this greater than that? We can simplify on the left hand side. B to the power 2b, is that greater than b to the power b squared? Now if b is greater than 1, then this question simplifies to asking, is 2b greater than b squared? Because if 2b is greater than b squared, then this left hand side must be greater than that right hand side. So is 2b greater than b squared? If we divide by b on both sides, which we can do because b is positive, b is not 0, then we get, is 2 greater than b? If we swap it around, we can say, is b smaller than 2? Alright, so with the first piece of information, we basically rephrased this question to the simple question, is b smaller than 2? And we don't know that because nothing is being told about b. So the first piece of information is not sufficient to answer your question. Looking at the second piece of information, we also cannot answer this question because just knowing that b is greater than 2 doesn't tell us anything about whether this is true or not, because it really depends on the value of a. You can actually try it yourself with some numbers for a. So the second piece of information is also not sufficient to answer the question asked. Now, if we combine both pieces of information, then with the first piece of information we have rephrased this question in the simple question, is b smaller than 2? And with the second piece of information we know that b is larger than 2, therefore we know that the answer to this question is no. It's a definite no. And therefore both pieces of information are sufficient to answer the question asked. Because you can answer this question with certainty. You can answer the question with no. And answering the question with no is sufficient to know that you can answer this question. And this is actually this important pitfall that you're being asked whether you have sufficient information. You're not being asked whether the answer is yes or no. You're being asked, do you have sufficient information? And if you can answer the question with a definite no, then you indeed have sufficient information to answer the question asked. So the answer is going to be C. You need both statements together to answer the question.